related to Vedantic idealism and the miracles of healing and so on that Lord Jesus performed. Swamiji related to high accomplishments as a yogi. And those who witnessed Swami Shivananda's statements concerning Lord Jesus knew that all these came from his own personal experience, personal direct knowledge, not just analysis of the Bible. Perhaps it's good to explain that Banaras was at that time the holy city of Hindu learning. The best of all Hindu scholars lived in Banaras. And Rajgriha was a center of Buddhist learning. Close to Banaras is and was the famous Sarnath, where Buddha preached his first sermon. And both Hinduism and Buddhism were in their heyday during that time, during the time of Lord Jesus.
His Holiness Swami Chidananda Maharaj succeeded Swami Shivananda as president of the Divine Life in 1963, after the Mahasamadhi, or death of his master. A biblical scholar, Swami Chidananda, the son of a prosperous landowner in South India, graduated from India's Loyola College, a predominantly Christian institution, where he was instilled with a lifelong love and devotion for Jesus Christ. Swami Chidananda recalls his master's frequent references to Lord Jesus.
Swami Shivananda said Jesus Christ was a great yogi.
When Swami Shivananda said Jesus Christ was a great yogi, he meant that Jesus Christ was an adept in the occult science of Raja Yoga, which is the classical science of meditation. Because he was a master of this science, all the miracles that he performed during his public life were the result of yogic powers that accrue to a master yogi. These powers are called siddhis, and they comprise powers by which one has control over internal as well as external nature. One has control over the elements, and one has control over life and death, as it were. And so, this is how we in India are able to understand the extraordinary miraculous powers which Jesus demonstrated during his life and during his ministry. The miraculous powers of Jesus Christ are natural to one who has reached the highest level of yogic attainment. The translation of the legend continues.
Saint Isa spent 6 years in Jagannath, Rajagriha, Benares, and other holy cities. Everyone loved Isa, for he lived in peace with the Vaishyas and Sudras, lower castes, to whom he taught the Holy Scripture. He strongly denounced the doctrine that gives to men the power of robbing their fellow men of their human rights. In truth, he said, God the Father has established no difference between his children, who are all equally dear to him. Isa taught his followers that one law had been given to man to guide him in his actions. Fear thy God, bend thy knee only before him, and bring to him alone thy offerings which come only from thy labors. Isa said, the eternal judge, the eternal spirit, constitutes the one individual soul of the universe, which alone creates, contains, and vivifies the whole. The great Creator has shared his power with no one, still less with inanimate objects, as they have taught you. For he alone possesses all power. He willed, and the world appeared. By one divine thought he united the waters, and separated from them the dry part of the globe. He is the cause of the mysterious life of man, into whom he has breathed a part of his own. He has subordinated to man the land, the water, the beasts, and all that he has created, and which he himself preserves in an unchangeable order by fixing the proper duration of each. The Vashas and Sudras greatly admired these words of Isa and begged him to teach them how to pray. He said to them, "Do not worship idols, for they do not hear you. Do not listen to scriptures in which the truth is perverted. Do not believe yourselves superior to others. Do not humiliate your neighbor. Help the poor, sustain the feeble. Do no evil to anyone." The Brahmin priests and warriors, having learned of the discourse in which Isa had addressed the Sudras, determined upon his death. But Isa, warned of the danger by the Sudras, left by night, reached the mountains, and established himself in the country of the Gautamades, followers of Buddha, where the great Buddha Shakyamuni was born. Having learned perfectly the Pali language, the just Isa devoted himself to the study of the sacred scrolls of the sutras. 6 years afterwards, Isa was able to explain perfectly the sacred scrolls.
The Venerable Ventu Dharmawara, president of the Buddhist Center in New Delhi and founder of the Ashoka Mission, a monastic order, visited Himas Gompa at Leh Ladakh. There he was shown documents referring to the life of Saint Isa, both in the original Pali language and in the Tibetan translation.
Well, you see, I had known about the visit of Jesus to India and Tibet long before I visited Himas Gompa in Western Tibet, that is to say, in Ladakh. Now, when I went there, I made some investigation about the fact of the visit, and I had been shown the record, which was written on old traditional paper made of birch bark. It was in Pali and the translation in Tibetan as well. And it is said that he had mastered as well as greater
Buddhism was in its infancy when Saint Isa visited India and was only beginning to take hold in the East. Although the records of Saint Isa's visit were found in Tibet, he did not study Tibetan Buddhism, for it was not until 400 years after his death that Buddhism spread to Tibet. Yet, it was in Tibet where the teachings of Buddhism had been best preserved. High in these remote mountains, far from the maddening pace of metropolitan life, the old ways are preserved. Ancient scrolls remain intact, and ritual is unchanged. This sacred function is part of the ancient tradition of Tibetan Buddhism and is presided over by the head abbot at the Dalai Lama's monastery at Dharamsala, India. The monks in this Tibetan monastery wear the yellow hats signifying celibacy or renunciation. This tantric ritual called Tag Juma is performed annually to get rid of external evil spirits in the monastery and surrounding villages.
What? What am I looking for?
The legend continues.
Saint Isa had sojourned 6 years among the Buddhists in India, where he found the principle of monotheism still in its purity. At the age of 26, he left India. The return journey took him through Afghanistan, Persia, Greece, and Egypt. Saint Isa was approximately 30 years old when he returned to Palestine, where he went from city to city, preaching to the poor and proclaiming the kingdom of God. The governor, Pilate, fearing Saint Isa was inciting the people against the authorities with the intention of becoming king of Israel, had him arrested, imprisoned, tortured, and brought to trial. The judges, having consulted together, said to Pilate, "We will not take upon ourselves the great sin of condemning an innocent man and of acquitting robbers, which is contrary to our laws." By order of the governor, the soldiers seized Isa and the two robbers and led them to a place of punishment, and there nailed them upon crosses which the earth trembled and the heavens wept because of the great crime just committed in the land of Israel. For they have just finished torturing and executing there the great just Isa, in whom dwelt the soul of the universe, who incarnated himself in a simple mortal in order to do good to men. Thus ended the terrestrial life of the reflection of the eternal spirit in the form of a man who endured great suffering for love of mankind.
What is known of the disciples of Jesus? Did any of them venture to India after the death of their master? We need look no further than to St. Thomas, who was one of the chosen 12, known as Doubting Thomas, because he demanded tangible proof before believing in Christ's resurrection. According to the Catholic Encyclopedia, St. Thomas is said to have evangelized the lands between the Caspian Sea and the Persian Gulf, even venturing further east into India. According to the apocryphal Acts of Thomas, St. Thomas entered India as a carpenter, preached the gospel, performed many miracles, and died a martyr's death. Today, there is an active Christian community along the Malabar coast in South India near the city of Madras. This church is named after the apostolic founder, St. Thomas, who 2,000 years ago lived and preached the gospel in India. Father A.J. Adekalam, Vicar General of the Archdiocese of Madras Mylapore in South India, speaks about St. Thomas and his church.
This cathedral actually was only built in 1886. Formerly there was a smaller church. Still earlier there was only the tomb here. This cathedral actually stands over his tomb. And right from the early centuries, somehow this tomb had been kept in veneration by the people of the soil. Historicity of it is established right from the early days, say the first, 2nd century, for example, here. We have the tomb of the apostle. It was opened in the year 222, and so we have like that right from the early days. Historicity connected with this, according to tradition. He arrived in India in the year 52 AD.
I'm making a lot of
and the place of his activity was in Mylapore, because this place is a place rich in Hindu culture and heritage. So he used to come here and live and preach. And he used to go up to the mountain, which is called by his name, St. Thomas Mount today. where he used to spend nights in prayer as his master did. It is one such time that he was supposed to have been killed there. Jesus Christ, when he had revealed himself as the Son of God, no more thinking of God as something far away being, but closely connected as a son to the Father, that is the greatest revelation man had ever. In the life of Jesus, between the 12th year and the 30th year, perhaps he might have come this side. They have no historic proof to say that Jesus ever came to India, lived in the Himalayas. They have some reasons to connect like that. There are no historical evidences for that.
Paramahansa Yogananda, founder of the Self-Realization Fellowship in Los Angeles in 1925, was the first great master of India to live and teach in the West. During the 30 years he spent in Southern California, he dedicated himself to explaining and expanding on the teachings of the Old and New Testament. In his inspiring book, The Autobiography of a Yogi, he tells of his spiritual training in India and of his master's close connection with the teachings of Jesus. Yogananda's direct disciple, Swami Kriyananda, an American and founder of the Ananda Cooperative Village and Meditation Retreat in Northern California, recalls what Yogananda had to say about the lost years of Jesus.
Yes, Yogananda often talked about the missing years of Jesus and the fact that he spent them in India, or a large part of them. He told us once that the 3 wise men had come to the manger from India and that Jesus' visit to India was to return their visit. In his book, Man's Eternal Quest, which is a book of his sermons that was published by Self-Realization Fellowship, he says, God made Jesus Christ an Oriental in order to bring East and West together. Christ came to awaken the divine consciousness East and West. It is true that Christ lived in India during most of the 18 unaccounted for years of his life, studying with India's great masters. That doesn't take away from his divinity and uniqueness. It shows the unity and brotherhood of all great saints and avatars. Yoganandaji was talking not from a level of scholarship, but of intuition. And when he saw the life of Jesus in India, it was from that level that he was talking, although he also mentioned that there were records in India, such as Notovich's, but he had seen it himself and spoke with certainty.
Is it possible that there were once records detailing the missing years in the life of Jesus? If so, what could have happened to those records? To explore the question further, let's travel back in time to 325 AD, the year Emperor Constantine brought together more than 300 bishops from the farthest boundaries of the Roman Empire for the first ecumenical council at Nicaea. Constantine's purpose was to create a union between church and state. At the council, deletions and additions to the church doctrine were agreed upon. It was here that Jesus was designated as the Son of God, that is, the essence of the Father, who was begotten, not made, of one substance with the Father. This was adopted as the Nicene Creed. Having proclaimed Jesus as the only begotten Son of God, Constantine now found the historical Jesus contradicted his newly established Nicene Creed. In 389 AD, just 64 years after the First Ecumenical Council, it is said that the Church put to fire the vast depository of ancient knowledge of the Alexandria Library, manuscripts that might have contradicted Constantine's Nicene Creed. Subsequent ecumenical councils further altered the original doctrine. It is therefore possible that somewhere during the evolution of the Church, the history of Jesus from age 12 to 30 may very well have been deleted from church doctrine in an excess of zeal.
In fact, one gets the impression that other things were taken out of the Bible too. You know, the early Christians used to believe in...
Very interesting. It's apparently they found manuscripts of him in India or something like that. Quite crazy. This is a song I was busy working on. can't hear it right
Rock
now.
me, baby. Rock me, baby.
Hey guys, come work with me, RL.
Rock me, baby.
Okie dokie.
Rock me, baby. Rock me, baby.
I don't think that looks good. I'm trying to make like a key or something.
Rock me, baby. Rock me, baby. Rock me, baby.
So I put a key inside of it. See what that kind of should look like.
Rock me, baby. Rock me, baby.
Okay, now I need to make a hole. So that's what I'm sort of making, like a treasure chest, and then I'm going to put crystals inside of it. I can manage to open this up. Let's see if we can actually get crystals now. Hey guys, want to do some crystal meth? Without the meth and just the crystal?
Rock me, baby.
So yeah, I made this song earlier. I was just playing around. I just usually listen to this. Gets me to like sort of trance. Come on, surely we got some crystals, man. No crystals. That's the bummer. We just have to make crystals. I'll find crystals. Let's what? Let's get some crystals. Okay. That's gonna be interesting to fill this up with distance down.
Rock me, baby.
I'm working on top now. I like using glass
Rock me, baby.
for the crystals. I'm joking, I like using glass textures. What grass textures? Glass textures. My bad. Okay.
Rock me, baby.
How do I add more details to this? Maybe.
Rock me, baby.
I don't know what I'm doing here.
Rock me, baby.
I don't think that makes it look better.
Rock me,
Maybe
baby.
that. I've got an idea. I want to use material for this. Use this for now.
Rock me, baby.
Oh, that actually looks pretty awesome. Okay, let's work on the body.
Rock me, baby. Rock me, baby.
Adding more detail to it now. Let's put plane here.
Rock me, baby.
Let me try another song I made. Still learning how to use the software. Let's see. People, you know, game and stream. I'm just gonna work and stream. I think that's a cool idea. It's just I don't know how I feel about the talking department. That's an interesting song. Let's check what's happening in the comment section. Did you make the beat? Yeah, I made that beat. Hey, Secretary. How you doing? Good to see you. Good to have you around. Yeah, I did make that beat, actually. Let me keep playing it. Tell me what you think. I think we want something in the middle, yeah. Gotta feel naked. This is now. Pretty weird track. What you guys think? I don't like all that crazy shit off of that, but best when it drops the fire. Have you heard of Yakuza or Mafia style beats? Soft mellow entrance for that. I got lyrics to go for prolific beats. It's awesome, man. Yeah, no, I'm just practicing. The last beat you played is now, it's kinda... I don't know about lyrics. You make beats? What? What? Damn, that's not good. Yeah, you're right. That is some crazy stuff. Let's try make a new one. No, I'm checking. Make a new one now. Jeez. Might as well try. Okay, let's go straight to Sakura. What? Here we go. Actually, I want to start with bass first. So soft, I can't barely hear anything. Let's try another bass. I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah, that looks good. Starting with the bass. This is my Friday night, guys. It's a pretty cool way to spend the night. I've been programming all day. So now I'm just taking it easy. That sounds good. Let's see what we can do with that. Let's put that on channel 1. Okay, let's put a compress on it. Cool. I just want to try something. Miss Gross Beats. This is a time and what? Volume modulator. There we go. We got something. And that was just a bass. We got ourselves something. Happy Friday, man. Oh, you're searching through samples. I was like, why is this changing so much now? The last beat was nice. What kind of lyrics put into that? Happy Friday, brother. Okay, let's see what else we can do with this beat. Oh, that sounds pretty good. What? Pattern 1. What? That doesn't make any sense. What the hell happened to... What? On a different project file. Yeah. Yeah, I've got 2 project files open. No. Okay, what else can we add here? Let's add another pattern. Sounds good. There you go. Next. What else we got? Kick. Okay. Just another. Another pattern. Pattern 3. What else we got here? Symbol? Snare. Yeah, that sounds good. Start with the drums. That's a good idea. Next. What are we gonna do next? What are we gonna do next? Another pattern? Okay. Let's do this then. Start with the drums. Okay, nothing is pattern. This is like detailed drums. That's what I'm gonna call it, detailed drums. Working on the next pattern now. Okay. Already using that. Okay, now let's do this. I wonder what this will do. I need to find more stuff. Pattern 4. Wow, didn't expect that. Okay, cool. Let's put this there. Okay, cool. Now we've played with all these drums. There's so much more that can be added. And I'm no professional music guy. I just want people to know that, first of all. I'm just messing with the software. Sounds like a knock on the door. This is what I do. Train different skill sets. The more time you put in, the better you get at it. What the hell? Okay. Lots of textures and layers. Takes a bit of time. I like that. Sounds a bit out of tune. That sounds cool. Sounds cool. Damn, really? There's missing one over here. I'm gonna call this song Soft White Underbelly. Nice. There we go. Okay, that's a good layer down. We should probably save this. Yeah, that's a good idea. New stuff. Song 3. See what's happening in the comment section. Boom, boom. Let's see what's happening. Let's see what's happening. Boom, boom, bow, DDD, chaka, boom, boom. I like that, man. Boom, boom, pow. You think I'm eating CB, grinning, boom, boom, pow. You should write some lyrics. You can. Yeah, epic. Epic stuff. Boom, that's sounding good. Here we go, guys, getting some steam. I feel like having a cigarette so bad right now. I can't talk to this room. I miss my house in the farm. One like electronic hip hop. That's the genre I'm gonna give it. I'm gonna try to write some lyrics to this. Freestyle. Catch me on the. Let's see if I can even spit some beats. Let's just check out. Sounds good. Okay, let's check. This is just like the. I don't even know. We haven't even put the melody yet. I haven't even put Sakura. I haven't even gone to Sakura yet. Let's see if we can add some. That sounds good. Call the song Ultra Witchcraft. Okay. Let's add in another one. I'll find some Okay, I think it's time to try maybe add some slight beats. Vocals. If I have any.
Come on, baby. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Baby. Baby. Baby.
I remember that. I was improvising.
I would like to introduce. I would like to introduce. I would like to introduce.
Okay, thumbs out Sakura.
I would like to introduce.
Sakura, here we go. Where are you? Sakura. Where's Sakura? Sakura, where are you?
Baby.
Really?
Baby.
Sakura. Morphine. Modulator. Cool. Remember, I should remind myself to use this. Wow, there's a lot of stuff here.
I would like to introduce.
Where's Sakura?
I would like to introduce.
Wow, that sounds good. I like the sound of that. Woohoo! Okay. Sounds so weird.
Baby.
But maybe I can actually do something.
Baby.
Oh, I see, okay. I got an idea as well. Yep, that's exactly what I'm gonna do. Put you on channel 1. And then
Baby. Baby. Baby.
okay, cool. Let's go to Sakura. What's not Sakura? Something else. Go to the piano roll. What is the sound? So. Okay, cool. Such a weird sounding song.
to introduce
maybe a cylinder.
Baby. Baby.
The hood.
I would like to introduce
Okay, let's give it a hole. Sounds a bit thing, man. Give it a hole. Yeah, this is how we're gonna give it a hole.
Baby. Baby.
I am the creator. Dude, you want such random ass shit.
I would like to introduce
Okay, let's do it then. Make a hole for this. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this thing over here, and then we're gonna modify, and I'm gonna add ooh,
Baby.
modify.
Baby.
Click the key, and then I'm gonna take the key and hide the key. What the fuck?
I would like to introduce
No one's supposed to. Damn, that's not what's supposed to do at all. Really? Damn, bro. No, that's not what I need to do at all. Wait a minute, what? Why is this key's color changing?
Baby.
I need to make a hole in the
Baby.
circle like that. So
I would like to introduce
actually, I'm gonna start doing this first. Yep. What? Good. I'm busy.
Baby. Baby.
Really? It's not like the best
I would
treasure
like to
chest, but
introduce
it's a good first try. Let's still keep working on it. What happens if I make this material wood?
Baby. Baby.
What?
I would like to introduce.
What? Damn, that sucks, dude. This is all empty. Oh, I can give it a solidifier. What about that?
Baby. Baby.
What am I doing? I'm trying to make a hole in here. How do you do that? I can't even. Oh, I can. Thank you.
I would like to introduce.
There we go. This is the first part of the hole, baby. Hide this key for now.
Baby.
Damn, what?
Baby.
For now.
I would like to introduce.
I don't know what I did. Oh, damn, that's what I did. That's also a good idea.
Baby. Baby.
What? Okay.
I would like to introduce.
What the fuck? Street faces along normal. Why can't I go backwards? What the hell? It's the first time it's ever happened to me. That's so scary. It's just been getting L after L after L. Too many L's. Can't take it anymore.
Baby. Baby.
Friday night, town. That is correct.
I would like to introduce.
Dude, what is happening here? I can't extrude it. For some reason. Let's do this. Maybe we'll get this. Oh, there you go. Let's see. It's so broad.
Baby.
Check this out. No.
Baby.
Where's the hole? This hole needs to come down.
I would like to introduce.
Yeah. I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do here, dude. Kinda looks like a son. Could be a son. Oh, damn. This program could be crazy. Well,
Baby.
I don't know what to do. This music's making me feel like meditated now. Damn, dude. Got it.
Reincarnation. The Jews believe in it. Orthodox Jews still believe in it. And Origen, one of the greatest theologians, second to St. Augustine even, so great was he, said that he got the teaching of reincarnation from apostolic times. This teaching wasn't taken out of the Christian doctrine until 553 at the Second Council of Constantinople, 553 AD. They found recently that Pope Vigilius, who was present in Constantinople, boycotted that council, didn't go to it. I think there was only one prelate from Rome. They anathematized Origen for political reasons, and at the same time took out all his teachings, including that of reincarnation. But we do find little glimpses and hints in the Bible about reincarnation, about Elijah, for example, coming before the Messiah, Jesus saying that John the Baptist was Elias or Elijah. Many other passages are indicative of this teaching being accepted. For example, when Jesus said, "Whom do men say that I am?" the disciples say, some say Jeremiah or one of the other prophets. Jesus didn't correct them for saying that people were saying that he was an incarnation, which is obviously what was meant, of one of the ancient prophets. So we get the impression that the Bible was tampered with for the usual reasons, which is institutional religion. When they try to institutionalize religion, they also bring out the more convenient things that will support their church dogmas. And this is what I think they must have done, and what Yogananda indicated that they did do with the Bible, that there were many high and deep teachings there that are not available except through the lives of great saints who lived those teachings and realized them in their own lives.
Where is it that the gurus and enlightened ones get their knowledge? The knowledge they seem to glean from somewhere beyond time and space. Is it the Akashic record, that which saints and psychics the world over refer to as a continuous record of all mankind's earthly experience, a kind of cosmic computer which only a privileged few have been able to tune into? These imperishable records are said to reside in a sort of universal mind, existing somewhere beyond time and space. The American-born Edgar Cayce, world-renowned prophet and psychic of the 20th century, demonstrated his ability to read the Akashic record in over 14,500 clairvoyant readings. Cayce baffled doubters, astounded believers, and was almost always proved correct. Time after time, in his self-induced sleep state, references to Jesus of Nazareth would appear until a clear picture of the lost years emerged. Documented in Edgar Cayce's story of Jesus, the following information was revealed about Jesus' education. In a trance state, Cayce said, "The periods of study in Palestine were only at the time of his sojourn in the temple, or in Jerusalem during those periods when he was quoted by Luke as being among the rabbi, or teachers. His studies in India, Persia, and Egypt covered much greater periods, that there might be completed the more perfect knowledge of the material related to those cleansings of the body in preparation for strength of the physical, as well as in the mental man." In India today, it is possible to observe these practices. Cleansing is not only a physical act, but a purification of the thoughts, words, and actions of the individual. The goal is oneness, the merging of the purified individual with God. It is salvation, union, yoga. Cleansing of thought is attained by focusing the attention on a chosen aspect of God. When, through this practice of concentration, the individual transcends the sense of self and merges with the object of attention, it becomes meditation. The continued practice of meditation and prayer frees the mind of external influences and desires and allows it to perceive its divine inner nature. Cleansing the mind permits the body to function free of stress and dis-ease. The body can then manifest its energy in the form of strength, endurance, and abilities we term miraculous. The creative energy of life is perceived as residing within each individual, coiled as a serpent at the base of the spine, from where it will rise and travel along a path, activating 7 centers of energy called chakras. These centers are survival, reproduction, power, universal love, creativity, awareness, self-realization. There is one law at the base of this philosophy. We recognize it as Newton's law of physics, which says, for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. In the East, this is called the law of karma, and is the foundation of religious as well as scientific thought. Is it possible that Western science, the golden rule of Christianity, and the first law of Eastern philosophy are presenting the same message? Do unto others as you would have them do unto you, because for each action there is an equal and opposite reaction. In her book, Edgar Cayce on Jesus and His Church, Anne Reid quotes from Cayce's clairvoyant readings. Jesus and John were in Heliopolis, Egypt, for the periods of attaining to the priesthood or the taking of examinations, passing the tests there. According to Cayce, the Great Pyramid of Giza was built to be the hall of the initiates, or that sometimes referred to as the White Brotherhood. In that same pyramid, did the great initiate, the Master Jesus, take those last of the Brotherhood degrees referred to in the Gospel as 3 days and nights in the tomb. The Master passed his initiation, releasing his soul from bondage to the material world and death. At another time, Cayce was asked, what is the significance and meaning of the words Jesus and Christ? He replied, Jesus is the man, the activity, the mind, the relationships he bore to others. He was loving. He was kind. He was gentle. He grew faint. He grew weak, and yet gained the strength which he had promised in becoming the Christ by fulfilling and overcoming the world. We are made strong in body, in mind, in soul and purpose by that power in Christ. The power, then, is in the Christ. The pattern is in Jesus.
Lots and lots of money.
We have come to know about Jesus from his teachings, from his followers, and from those who have a special ability to probe the universal mind. But is it possible that Jesus himself left a tangible message we are just now learning to understand? The Tibetan legend ended with the crucifixion.
So there's actually a legend
But
of
the Gospel
Jesus
of St.
in
Luke
Tibet.
continues the story. Now there was a man named Joseph from the Jewish town of Arimathea. This man went to Pilate and asked for the body of Jesus. Then he took it down and wrapped it in a linen shroud and laid him in a rock-hewn tomb where no one had ever yet been laid. It was the day of preparation, and the Sabbath was beginning. The women who had come with him from Galilee followed and saw the tomb and how his body was laid. Then they returned and prepared spices and ointments. On the Sabbath, they rested according to the commandment. But on the first day of the week, at early dawn, they went to the tomb, taking the spices which they had prepared. And they found the stone rolled away from the tomb, but when they went in, they did not find the body. In the excitement and wonder that followed as they ran to look for their risen Savior, something was left behind. The shroud which had covered the body while it lay in the tomb. Today, almost 2,000 years later, It is believed by popes and by scientists that the shroud that covered the body of Jesus not only has survived, but has preserved for us an accurate image of the physical likeness of Jesus. Is this the face of Jesus? In a recent book about the Shroud of Turin, Robert Wilcox interviewed Ralph Graeber, a nuclear scientist, who has been involved in the research which produced space-age computers for modern missiles. Graeber's scientific expertise has brought added dimensions to his study of the shroud.
Yes, it sounds impossible, but the Shroud of Turin actually does provide people of our generation with a true photograph of Jesus Christ. Let me explain. Here we have a photograph of the shroud. It's a long cloth, about 14 feet 3 inches long and 3.5 feet wide. And here we can see where a human body laid on the cloth. Here we see the back of the head, the shoulders, the back area, the legs, and the feet. And then the cloth wrapped around the top of the head. And here we see the image of the face, the chest, the crossed arms, the nail wound in the hands, the spear wound in the side, the legs, and the feet. This face image is very detailed and was probably formed when intense radiations of life energy in the body of Jesus caused a change in the molecular structure of the linen cloth and caused a darkening. And we can see at the tip of the nose, where the cloth laid closest to the skin, the image is darkest. This kind of image is known as a photographic negative, and this gives us an actual photograph of Jesus that is 2,000 years older than the invention of our cameras. It should also be kept in mind that only this image, this photographic negative of Jesus, was available to painters and sculptors until the invention of the camera. Then, in 1898, this primitive camera was used to make the first photograph of the shroud. And as the photographer was developing the negative plate, this is what appeared to his eyes. We see here that the white cloth is now in negative, or black, but the facial image is positive, with lights and shadows in proper arrangement. Thus, people of our century have something quite new, this actual photograph of the face of Jesus.
The first historical reference to the shroud is found in the Gospels. Little is known of its whereabouts during the early centuries. This was a time of persecution of Christians, so it is understandable that such a precious relic would have been kept safely hidden away. But at some point, it was moved from Jerusalem to Constantinople, where records indicate it was seen in 436 AD, when the Empress Pulcharia, a granddaughter of Emperor Constantine, built the Basilica of St. Mary to house the shroud and to display it to the public every Friday. A current theory suggests that the image on the shroud was the inspiration for early Byzantine depictions of Jesus. The actual shroud was again reported seen in Constantinople in 1150 AD and later in 1201 AD. In 1204, Constantinople was sacked by Crusaders, and the shroud was taken as part of the spoils of war. It is believed to have been carried north to Vienna and then west to France. About 150 years later, in 1355, it was displayed to the public in Liry, France. In 1389, a controversy arose in which it was charged that the image had been painted on the shroud. Many believed the charge at the time. However, it was later proved impossible for the marks on the fabric to have been caused by any form of paint or pigment. In 1452, the shroud was taken to Chambéry in southern France and presented to the Duke of Savoy, a member of the powerful family which would later come to rule all of Italy. At Chambéry, the shroud was kept folded in a silver chest. On the night of December 3rd, 1532, a fire engulfed the
music over here. Polluting the airwaves, connecting the mind chains with the thick. Feels like ice cage. Was it just migraines? It's giving me migraines. Who do you think taught these motherfuckers to fly planes? I like that. That's all, dude.
Baby.
This is an old little song. Yeah, dude.
Baby.
That boom boom power. I like the lyrics, man. That's lyrics. Okay.
I would like to introduce.
Come on, man. Get the materials on here. How about a pink? Changing.
Baby. Baby.
Really starting to see. It's fun. Mix it up.
I would like to introduce.
We put a lot in this box.
Baby.
So look. Last Christmas.
I would like to introduce.
palace. So great was the heat that the silver chest began to melt, and drops of molten silver fell onto the folded cloth, burning a pattern of holes in the shroud. As it was pulled from the fire, water further stained the fabric. The Carmelite nuns repaired the holes with fresh altar linen and lined the shroud with white velvet. They also marveled at the fact that although marks damaged both sides of the shroud, the image of the body was left untouched. By 1578, the owners of the shroud had become the royal family of Italy. It was then that they arranged to move this most precious possession across the Alps to a new cathedral in Turin, the capital of their realm. The Cathedral of Turin, with the Chapel of the Holy Shroud, was built near the end of the 15th century. The lower dome is above the main altar of the cathedral. The higher dome is over the altar in the Chapel of the Holy Shroud. This dome is over 200 feet high. Because of the danger of fire which had threatened the shroud, the chapel and altar were built entirely of marble. The actual shroud is rolled around a cylinder, which is sealed before being placed in the silver reliquary, which is then put inside a heavy iron box and placed behind a double iron grillwork. With the exception of the years during World War II, when it was moved to southern Italy for safety, the shroud has remained here in Turin.
It looks so cool.
The shroud was first photographed in 1898 by Secundo Pia using this camera. The event attracted the attention of the French Academy of Sciences in Paris. The speculation was that this was the world's oldest photograph and certainly worthy of scientific study. The examination was undertaken by a senior member of the Academy, Dr. Delage. Preliminary studies were focused on the authenticity of the shroud as shown by evidence carried on the fabric itself, and upon the phenomena that it might possibly be the world's oldest photograph. In 1902, Dr. Delage presented findings to a packed meeting of the prestigious French Academy of Sciences. His evidence for authenticity was sound and was not challenged. 30 years later, Pope Pius XI, who was a scientist as well as Pope, said, "We speak now as a scientist, not as Pope. We have personally investigated the shroud, and we are convinced of its authenticity." The shroud is still owned by the Savoy family, although they no longer rule Italy. In 1933, the Italian courts declared the shroud to be the personal property of the royal family in order to protect it from Mussolini. The shroud is exhibited to the public on rare occasions. In 1898, in honor of the wedding of King Victor Emmanuel III. In 1931, in honor of the wedding of Umberto II. And in 1933, to commemorate the 1900th anniversary of the death of Jesus. It now takes the permission of the ex-king of Italy, the Cardinal of Turin, and the Pope to publicly display the shroud. It has been seen as recently as 1973 and 1978. Since the Middle Ages, popes have spoken of the shroud. Recently, Pope Paul VI called it the most important relic in the history of Christianity, and Pope John XXIII said, "This can only be the Lord's own doing." Many questions about the shroud are now being answered with scientific techniques of the 20th century. One of the first questions invariably raised is whether or not a skillful artist in the 14th century could have painted the image we see. The study of this question has brought three conclusions. First, the fabric of the shroud is woven linen in a 3-to-1 twill weave with a herringbone pattern throughout. This type of weave has been found in fabrics from the Middle East, which have been dated from 100 to 300 AD, and this weave was unknown in France in the 14th century. Secondly, art historians point to the fact that the style of art of the 14th century was so different from the realism and anatomical precision portrayed on the shroud that it is inconceivable that it was produced at that time. The conclusive finding on this theory is that there is no evidence of paint, of brushstrokes, or of pigment of any kind on the fabric itself.
This can happen.
Dr. Max Frey, the noted Swiss criminologist, has scientifically time-dated the cloth in an unusual way. Authorities have so far been unwilling to cut the cloth to provide samples for carbon-14 dating. So Dr. Frey took pollen scrapings from the shroud and subjected them to criminological analysis. These tests revealed the presence of pollen fossils that could only have come from plants that grew exclusively in Palestine at the time of Jesus. He also found pollen samples that helped to trace the travels of the shroud. This is based on the presence of pollen fossils.
You're dating the rate at which carbon converts into nitrogen. That's how you carbon date. It's pretty interesting, actually. How do you carbon date, calculate how fast the carbon's turning into nitrogen, and then use some mathematical sequences and formulas in order to tell you at the rate at which nitrogen has fallen off, carbon is converted and fallen off into nitrogen, is the rate at which it's been in decay. It's quite an interesting science. I want to look more into it, but it's ultimately calculating the rate at which, I don't know how accurate it is either, because there are inconsistencies. Like what's the AI? Real quick. What was I thinking about? What the hell was I just speaking about? Sorry, just give me a second. Oh yeah, is there inconsistencies within regards to carbon dating?
Yes, there are some inconsistencies and limitations to carbon dating, which is a technique used to determine the age of ancient artifacts and materials. Carbon dating relies on the measurement of the amount of radioactive carbon isotope 14C remaining in a sample. However, there are a few issues that can affect the accuracy of carbon dating results. 1. Contamination. If a sample contains contaminants with different carbon isotopes, it can skew the carbon dating results. 2. Environmental factors. Some environmental factors, such as changes in the Earth's magnetic field or atmospheric composition, can affect the production rate of the carbon isotope 14C.
And how many more inconsistencies are there?
There are a few more inconsistencies with carbon dating as a dating technique. These include 1. Inaccuracies related to the calibration of the technique. While carbon dating can provide a rough estimate of the age of an object, it may not always provide an exact age due to issues with calibrating the technique. 2. Limited range of accuracy. Carbon dating is primarily used to date objects that are less than 60,000 years old, as the level of carbon isotope 14C in objects older than that becomes too low to measure accurately.
Is it true that the carbon dating methods that we employ today only work from 500 to 50,000 years?
Yes, that is correct. The current carbon dating methods are generally accurate for materials that are up to 50,000 years old. Beyond that age range, the amount of carbon isotope 14C in the sample becomes too low to be accurately measured, making the age estimate less reliable.
And have they used this method in order to carbon date rocks?
Carbon dating has been widely used to date a variety of objects, ranging from archaeological artifacts to organic materials such as bones, wood, and charcoal. It is a commonly used method in archaeology, anthropology, and paleontology to determine the age of materials that are less than 50,000 to 60,000 years old. However, carbon dating has its limits and is not suitable for dating materials that are older than that or do not contain carbon, such as rocks and metals.
Wow. So there are actually quite a lot of flaws and inconsistencies. Then how have they arrived towards the estimate that the Earth is approximately 4.8 billion years old?
The estimate of the age of Earth as approximately 4.8 billion years old is calculated using a combination of different scientific methods and data from a variety of fields, including geology, physics, and astronomy. These include radiometric dating techniques, such as uranium-lead dating and rubidium-strontium dating, which can be used to date rocks and minerals. Other methods include the study of the half-lives of radioactive isotopes and the analysis of meteorites, which can provide information about the age of the early solar system.
So there's carbon dating methodology for cosmic background radiation and different radioisotopes, which are being used in order to calculate the age of the Earth. But does its measurement measure beyond 50,000 years?
When determining the age of the Earth, carbon dating is not typically used directly, as it has a limited range of accuracy for materials up to around 60,000 years old. Instead, other radiometric dating techniques are employed, such as uranium-lead dating and rubidium-strontium dating, which can provide age estimates for much older materials. These techniques rely on the radioactive decay of specific elements and isotopes to determine their age, and can measure ages of several billion years.
Based on radioactive isotope fall-off?
Yes, that's correct. The age of the Earth is estimated using radiometric dating techniques, which measure the decay of radioactive isotopes, such as uranium-238 and thorium-232, found in rocks and minerals. By analyzing the ratios of these isotopes and their daughter products, scientists can determine the time elapsed since the rocks solidify. This process, known as uranium-lead dating, can provide age estimates for rocks and minerals up to several billions years old.
And how accurate is it?
The accuracy of radiometric dating techniques, such as uranium lead dating, depends on the specific method used and the quality and quantity of the samples being studied. Generally, these techniques are considered to be highly accurate when proper procedures and safeguards are followed, and can provide age estimates with uncertainties of less than 1% for rocks and minerals up to several billion years old. However, there are some potential sources of error that can affect the accuracy of the results, such as contamination from modern lead or uranium, and the assumption that the decay rates of the isotopes have remained constant over time.
So is there any margin for error?
Yes, there is always some margin for error in radiometric dating techniques, as they rely on several assumptions and approximations. The level of uncertainty in the age estimate depends on various factors, such as the quality and quantity of the sample, the specific dating method used, and the level of contamination or other environmental factors. However, these techniques are generally considered to be quite accurate and have been used to provide well-established age estimates for many different submaterials, including rocks, minerals, pottery, and bone.
So how do they know it can measure up to 7 billion years old if the Earth's only 4.5 billion years old?
The 7 billion year age limit for dating techniques is theoretical, based on the decay of certain isotopes, such as uranium-238 and thorium-232. These isotopes have very long half-lives of billions of years, and can theoretically be used to calculate an age for materials that are up to several billion years old. However, the accuracy and precision of these techniques can decrease as the age of the material being dated increases beyond a certain point, due to factors such as the limits of measurement and accuracy of the technique, as well as the effects of environmental contamination and other factors.
Yeah, but you're still not answering my question. How can it be empirical evidence that it's able to measure up to several billion years if Earth's approximately not even 4.8 billion years? So how is that empirical evidence?
The empirical evidence that radiometric dating techniques can measure up to several billion years comes from the successful dating of a wide range of materials, such as meteorites and lunar rocks, as well as samples from the Earth. These materials have been dated using multiple different radiometric dating techniques, and the age estimates obtained from these techniques are in agreement with other lines of evidence, such as the age of the oldest known rocks on Earth. The fact that these different dating techniques consistently provide the same age estimates for these materials is strong empirical evidence that the techniques are accurate and can measure ages as far back as several billion years.
Okay, fair enough. I'm not going to argue with you anymore on that one.
No problem. I'm glad you found the explanation satisfactory. If you have any further questions or need clarification on any other topic, feel free to ask.
So how can that not be used for carbon dating then? Are those isotopes not found in normal carbon samples?
Carbon dating works by measuring the amount of radioactive carbon isotope 14C present in a sample. Because of the relatively short half-life of 5,730 years, carbon dating is not useful for dating materials older than about 60,000 years. Beyond that point, the level of carbon isotope 14C in the sample becomes too low to be accurately measured. In contrast, radiometric dating techniques, such as uranium-lead dating or rubidium-strontium dating, use radioactive isotopes with much longer half-lives and can provide age estimates for materials up to several billion years old.
Yeah, so how can so in terms of dinosaur bones, what isotopes have been measured?
The process of radiometric dating is commonly used to determine the age of dinosaur bones and fossils. This process involves measuring the amount of uranium, U-235 and U-238, thorium, Theth-232, and iodine isotopes, iodine-129 and iodine-135, contained in the bones. Radioactive U and Th isotopes can be used to date the minerals that make up the bones, and iodine isotopes can provide information about the age of the bone itself. By analyzing the ratio of these isotopes, scientists can estimate the age of the dinosaur bones or fossils.
I see, that's very interesting. So it's multiple different isotope readings that are done in order to cross-reference the data and information in order to get an age. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. When radiometric dating is used to determine the age of dinosaur bones or fossils, multiple different isotope readings are taken from the same sample to cross-reference.
That's interesting. That is very interesting.
This helps to ensure the accuracy of the results of dating, such as uranium lead dating, thorium-uranium dating, and iodine lead dating, to obtain multiple age estimates for the same sample, and the results are typically in agreement with each other.
So basically, these are isotopes from the periodic table, correct?
That's correct. Isotopes that are commonly used in radiometric dating, such as uranium, U-235 and U-238, thorium-232, and iodine-129 and iodine-130 found on the periodic table. Their property.
Oh man, really? Does the signal really have to be so bad? Sorry, you're breaking up. It's absolutely terrible signal or connection.
I'm sorry to hear that you're experiencing connection issues. Maybe we can try continuing the conversation later when the connection is better.
I think the connection's restoring now. I have a question. What is the oldest mammal found?
The oldest known mammal fossil is called Jeremiah sinensis, which was discovered in northeastern China. The fossil is estimated to be about 160 million years old, and it belonged to an early member of the placental mammals, the group that includes all modern placental mammals such as humans.
Wow, and what radioisotope readings were done with in regards to the different elements of the periodic table? 60 million years ago.
The age of Jeremiah sinensis, like many other ancient fossils and objects, is determined using radiometric dating techniques. These techniques typically involve analyzing the ratio of certain radioactive isotopes of elements, such as uranium and its daughter products, to stable isotopes of the same element. By examining the ratio of these isotopes in a sample, scientists can estimate the amount of time that has passed since the sample formed, based on the rate at which the radioactive isotopes decay into their stable counterparts.
So ultimately calculating the rates of decay of radioactive isotopes.
Yes, that's correct. Radiometric dating techniques are based on the principle that radioactive isotopes decay at a constant rate over time, and the amount of radioactive isotope present in a sample can be used to estimate the amount of time that has passed since the sample formed. By measuring the amounts of specific radioactive isotopes and their stable counterparts in a sample, scientists can calculate the age of the sample using the known rate of decay of the isotopes.
Interesting.
I'm glad you find that interesting. Radiometric dating is a very important tool for scientists in many different fields, including geology, archaeology, and biology, as it allows them to estimate the ages of many different types of materials, from rocks and fossils to ancient human artifacts.
And what is the oldest meteorite or some space object?
Artwork is a carving on a shell called a wasted
No,
shell
not
from
artwork.
France. The carving is believed to be around 73,000 to 100,000 years old and depicts the head of a bird-like creature. It is considered to be the oldest known example of prehistoric art and is thought to have been created by early humans as a form of symbolic expression or communication.
That's crazy. That's crazy. That's insane. Jeez, that's crazy. You know, it'd be totally possible for some alien race to come and mess with our DNA. It's totally possible for someone to come and do that. Keep on, brother. Thanks for stopping by. What an interesting conversation with artificial intelligence. My goodness gracious, just got another right questions and never stop asking questions. Unbelievable information. It looks good, but well, I suppose it actually does look good. I'm pretty happy with that. I just need to. It's a cool little chest. Now I just need to get it open. What do you think, viewers? Think this is a cool chest? Oh no, I need to get it. I need to give it a lock, which I'm struggling to do. It's not that easy to just come up with a lock. Although, let me just look at a reference real quick. Let's go to Sketchfab. Wow, the calculation of radioactive isotope fall-off of different elements in the periodic table. Different elements have a faster fall-off from parent to daughter isotopes. So when it converts from a mother-daughter isotope, that's the rates of fall-off. It's pretty crazy science. How did he get all these coins in here? Did he just place them in? You see there's that light at the bottom, which is making these coins glow so nicely like that. What a lovely 3D model. I love this little chest. Nice little coins. Okay, so let's just look at this over here. Let's see. It's a hole. Obviously, it's a hole. Okay, let's see.
Fossils which date from the time of the Crusades and came from areas of Turkey. Still other fossils date from France of the Middle Ages. The major unresolved question is, just how was the delicately detailed image of the body formed on the cloth? Biologist Dr. Paul Vignon and physicist René Colson developed the vaporgraph theory. They speculated that the perspiration from the body had reacted with the spices packed around it to form a gas, which then rose and stained the cloth. The gas would have had to travel in a perfectly straight line, both up and down. While experiments have succeeded in staining fabric, the kind of precise detail of the shroud has never been recreated. Another popular theory involved heat radiating from the body and scorching an image on the cloth. This heat is thought to have occurred during the miraculous conditions of the resurrection, when the body dissolved in a blaze of light. This picture shows some experiments carried out in England. This small brass medallion was heated, and a linen handkerchief was laid over it. The handkerchief was scorched with a negative image, and when the image was photographed, it produced a corresponding positive image. But this image is very crude and does not contain the kind of detail found on the shroud.
Well, to the best of my knowledge, no one has succeeded in reproducing fine details in a laboratory picture, but we do have some pretty good clues. These images are the closest approximation we know of to the shroud images. A Dr. Volkringer at the French Academy of Sciences found that these herbal leaves that were discovered by chance after they had been pressed between the pages of a medical textbook for 100 years had formed an image, not on the page next to the leaf, but several pages away. The image Dr. Volkringer found is the one shown here, which is a negative image of the original leaf. Here we see that when these images are reversed with a camera, we have positive images comparable to the shroud images. It seems reasonable to postulate that some type of life energy was radiating in both cases, with the major difference being that the leaves radiated at a low intensity for 100 years to accomplish what the body of Jesus, radiating at a very high intensity, accomplished in a few hours in the tomb. So, pursuing this line of research, the next question is, what other evidence exists for radiation of this type from physical bodies? In recent years, we have seen development of a science known as Kirlian photography, which is providing much new understanding of life energy radiations. In this picture, we see how Kirlian photography shows us the energy patterns that exist around a rather ordinary geranium leaf. And here we see similar radiations from a human hand. Many people think that what we are seeing here is some portion, or technically some bandwidth, of the human aura or halo. Kirlian photography as a science is still in its infancy, but it is now beginning to give us pictures of energy fields not tightly locked to matter. In this photo, the tip of the leaf has been cut off, but something remains there and has given a normal appearance to the energy flares. And another experiment with cut leaves gave this remarkable photograph. In the area where the leaf has been cut away, we see a pattern of energy that closely matches the physical matter that has been removed. This could be what is called the astral body of a man, the body of energy that permeates and activates the physical body and is related to the phenomena of auras and halos.
Could this be an actual photograph of a halo? Christian saints and angels, as well as Jesus himself, have traditionally been portrayed with a golden circle of light around the head. Do these halos represent an unseen presence projected by the godly? Or is it an emanation that was once seen by men and portrayed in art that is too subtle for our eye?
Our science has now developed to the point where matter and energy are seen as two sides of the same coin, the same substance with taking on two different manifestations. We have come to see the human body not as solid, but as a collection of spinning electrons, protons, and atoms. And these combined into a variety of forms to give us blood, bone, flesh, and tissue for the human body. In the purest philosophy of the East, all matter is seen as a form of consciousness, and as such can be affected positively or negatively by consciousness. Simply expressed, it is mind over matter. Is there a measurable difference between bodies with differing levels of consciousness? This picture compares the intensity of one type of radiation, aura radiation, from the body of an ordinary man was that of a man who has dedicated his life to spiritual practices and meditation. What the Bible calls the single eye, and Eastern philosophy calls the third eye, enables some individuals to perceive the auras of people around them. This picture lets the rest of us see what they see, that the aura of an ordinary man extends some 2 to 3 feet from the body, while the aura of a saint extends 20 or 30 feet, giving it an intensity at the body surface of maybe 100 times that of a man whose consciousness is blocked by ego, illness, and other human limitations. If we believe that Jesus' consciousness was free of limitations, either because he had cleansed his mind, mastered his body, and released the life force of his chakras, or if we believe that Jesus was free of limitations because he was the Son of God, in either case, it follows that the radiation intensity from his body would have been very great. For some, this theory goes a long way toward explaining the body images left on the burial shroud. It also explains why no other shroud images have been found in the centuries following the death of Jesus.
It is apparent that understanding the surface radiations from the body will be one more step in unfolding the mysteries of the shroud and of man. But one question remains. Did the energy force that created the image on the shroud leave any other sign of its power? The Gospel of John. It was the day of preparation. In order to prevent the bodies from remaining on the cross on the Sabbath, the soldiers came and broke the legs of the first and of the other who had been crucified with him. But when they came to Jesus and saw that he was already dead, they did not break his legs. But one of the soldiers pierced his side with a spear, and at once there came out blood and water.
That was predicted.
He who saw it has borne witness. His testimony is true, and he knows that he tells the truth, that you also may believe. For these things took place that the scripture might be fulfilled. Not a bone of him shall be broken. The Roman centurion who thrust the spear was named Gaius Cassius. The spear he carried that day came to be called the Spear of Longinus, and for 19 centuries it has been the center of an astounding historical odyssey. A legend arose which attributed tremendous power for good or for evil to whoever possessed it. Is it possible that by merely touching the body of Jesus, an iron spear could have been infused with such power? From the study of the shroud, it is apparent that the spear entered the body between the 4th and 5th rib and was in position to puncture the heart. The outpouring of blood described in the Bible indicates the heart was punctured. The spear was also in position to puncture the heart chakra, that vortex of spiritual energy which is believed in the East to be the center of divine, selfless love, the very quality that Jesus embodied in his life. One theory attributes the emanations on the shroud and the legendary power of the spear to the life force radiations generated by the chakras of the enlightened Jesus, the power of the spear being so much stronger because it contacted the heart chakra directly, while the shroud was only affected by emanations through the body. What is of interest to us is the effect the spear has had on powerful men through the ages, men who believed the legend, who believed it had pierced the heart of Jesus. By 285 AD, the spear was in the possession of Mauritius, the commander of the Theban legion. He was put to death by the Roman tyrant Maximian for refusing to worship the pagan gods of Rome. His soldiers chose to die with their leader rather than worship the Roman gods in whom they no longer believed. Every 10th soldier was decapitated. Over 6,000 legionnaires died. In the 3rd century, Constantine the Great announced he was guided by providence as he held the spear during the historic battle on the Mulvian Bridge. It was this battle which gave Constantine control of the Roman Empire and made it possible for him to declare Christianity its official religion. When it came time to build his capital of Constantinople, Constantine held the spear before him as he paced off the boundaries of his new city. The spear of Longinus passed from one ruler to another, sometimes by conquest, sometimes by inheritance. Men such as Theodosius, who subdued the Goths in 385 AD, Alaric the Bold, the savage who converted to Christianity after he sacked Rome in 410, Theodoric the Visigoth, who fought the barbarians and stopped the onslaught of Attila the Hun, Emperor Justinian, whose ambition was to reunite the old Roman Empire and end the division of the Eastern and Western churches. By the 8th century, the Arabs had invaded much of France. Europe was saved from total domination by the general Karl Martel, known as the Hammer, who held the spear of Longinus in his hand. For Charlemagne, the spear represented the blood of Christ and was the central force in his life. He kept the sword by his side, even as he slept. Charlemagne fought 47 battles, convinced that the Holy Spear made his armies invincible. For 1,000 years, from the time of Charlemagne to the end of the 18th century, 45 Germanic emperors carried the spear. One day in 1909, 20-year-old Adolf Hitler was inside the Habsburg treasure house in Vienna when he overheard a guide describing the legend of the spear. He later wrote about that moment. At first, I didn't even bother to listen to what this expert had to say about it. And then I heard the words which were to change my whole life. The guide said, "There is a legend associated with this spear that whoever claims it and solves its secrets holds the destiny of the world in his hands for good or evil." Hitler stood transfixed as the guide told of the legend which said this was the spear that had pierced the side of Jesus. The spear was in 2 sections, joined by a gold band. The blade was wrapped in strands of copper, silver, and gold, which held in place a nail believed to have come from the cross. The guide further explained that Napoleon had demanded the spear after the Battle of Austerlitz. At that time, it had been smuggled out of Germany and taken to Vienna for safekeeping. When Hitler first saw the spear, it was a part of a collection of Austrian royal possessions on display in the Habsburg treasure house. The fact that the treasure had fallen into Austrian hands in an attempt to keep it from Napoleon, and then was never returned, added fuel to Hitler's fiery determination to one day see Austria under German domination. Hitler later said, "I knew with immediacy that this was an important moment in my life." Adolf Hitler was not the only man in Germany to be fascinated by the legend. Heinrich Himmler, the chief of the notorious SS troops during the Third Reich, was so intrigued by the spear that he had an exact copy made for himself.
Why?
Himmler used slave laborers under the whips of his SS troops to rebuild an ancient castle to house his replica. The castle was the infamous Wewelsburg. Wewelsburg was built as a shrine to the spear and to those Germanic rulers of the Holy Roman Empire who had possessed it. It was used by Himmler for top-level gatherings of his SS officers. The officers were assigned to a different suite of rooms on each visit. Himmler's plan was to infuse the spirit of each of the dead rulers into his men. He had the rooms decorated in the period and style of the various emperors. There were rooms for Otto the Great, Henry the Lion, Frederick Hohenstaufen, Philip of Swabia, Conrad IV, and others. 2 of the rooms were always reserved. Himmler's room was dedicated to the memory of Henry I, called the Birdcatcher because of his interest in hunting. Henry I had defended Germany against the Slavs and Magyars in 933. He so impressed Himmler that each year on the anniversary of his death, Himmler and a group of SS officers kept a midnight watch over his grave at the Quedlinburg Cathedral. It was in his room that Himmler kept the replica of the spear. The final suite of rooms was created for the sole use of the Führer.
That's so
It was
random.
dedicated to the Germanic ruler admired most by Hitler, the ruler who held the spear as
A
he knelt to be
replica
crowned
made
by
of the
Pope Hadrian
spear.
IV,
And he got
the
this
ruler
all
whose
across
name
the board.
became the code word for the Nazi invasion of Russia, Emperor Frederick Barbarossa. The Nazi invasion of Austria was completed in 2 days. "29 years had passed between the time young Hitler first stood before the spear and, as the Führer, entered Vienna on March 14, 1938. It is not possible for us to know his true thoughts as he returned in triumph to the city where he had lived as an outcast. But we do know he immediately went to the Hofburg and took possession of the crown jewels and the spear.
Eine kühne und stolze Mission. Wenn Berlin Hauptstadt des Reiches ist, Hamburg und Bremen die Hauptstädte der deutschen Wildbahn, Leipzig und Köln, Hauptstädte des deutschen Handels, Essen und Chemnitz, Hauptstädte der deutschen Industrie, dann soll München wieder werden Hauptstadt der deutschen Kunst.
Hitler spent only 1 day in Vienna. Late that night, he entered the Habsburg treasure house. He remained alone with the crown jewels and the spear for over an hour. At last, they belonged to him. A national holiday was declared in honor of the return to the fatherland of the symbols of the ancient German rulers. An armored train carried the regalia from Vienna to Nuremberg. The famous Meistersinger Hall of St. Catherine's Church was chosen by Hitler to house the treasure. Throughout the early years of the war, the thousands who came to pay homage to the objects saw the spear of Longinus at the center of the display. Nuremberg had been industrialized by the Nazis, and so it was a target for Allied bombers. The first raid on the city did extensive damage to the area near the church, even destroying the roof. The spear was moved to a bank on the corner of Königstrasse. As it became clear that the Nazi armies were not invincible, Hitler ordered a permanent hiding place built for the spear. A medieval tunnel beneath the Nuremberg fortress was chosen. It was here that the regalia had been hidden before being taken to Vienna in 1806 to avoid Napoleon's grasp. Hitler ordered a vault prepared in the tunnel, and when it was ready, the treasure was moved from the bank. Instead of taking it out of the city as announced, the regalia was delivered secretly to a house that now served as a front for the entrance to the tunnel. On October 13, 1944, an Allied air raid destroyed the entrance to the tunnel and exposed the massive iron doors of the secret passage. The entrance was again camouflaged, the treasure ordered moved. By a fateful mistake, the wrong spear was taken, and, with the other important pieces of the regalia, hidden in another deeper tunnel, leaving the spear of Longinus behind. The battle for Nuremberg began on April 16, 1945, and ended 4 days later on April 20th. While Hitler celebrated his 56th birthday in Berlin, the United States Army marched into Nuremberg. Meanwhile, Allied intelligence was intent on locating the symbols of Germanic rule in order to prevent them from becoming the rallying point of a resistance movement. 10 days had passed since the fall of Nuremberg without a trace of the regalia. Then, On the afternoon of April 30th, a small group of American GIs discovered the secret passage and the spear. Within the same hour that possession of the spear passed out of German hands, hundreds of miles away in Berlin, as Russian tanks approached, Adolf Hitler killed himself. The spear was now in the hands of the United States. General George Patton was the only official to identify it and understand its significance. General Dwight D. Eisenhower, commander of the Allied armies in Europe, gave the order to return the spear along with the other treasures to Austria. This was done on January 4th, 1946. The Spear of Longinus and the Shroud of Turin present clues to a timeless mystery. Are the answers in the future, or have they been with us since the beginning?
You're rigged, baby girl.
The concept of messiahs, Christs, and avatars can be found running like a golden thread through all the world's faith and scriptures. The dictionary defines an avatar as the descent of a deity to earth and his incarnation in a human being. In India, where the concept is probably most familiar, a full avatar is known to possess 16 qualities: control over the 5 physical aspects of the body, control over the 5 senses of the body, and control over the 5 elements of nature. Various of these 15 aspects can and have been acquired by yogis and saints through austerities and disciplines. For example, research into the biofeedback phenomena has led scientists to yogis who can alter their rate of respiration and heartbeat, change their body temperature at will, and can withstand wounds to the body without pain. The 16th and final aspect of a full avatar is the divine quality of omniscience, an inborn quality inherent in the descent of an avatar. According to the Bhagavad Gita, whenever the world is passing through a spiritual and moral crisis, an avatar comes in order to uphold righteousness and to reveal the next evolutionary step in creation. Lord Krishna was the last such avatar to come to India. Today, in south-central India, there exists a man of miracles, a saint who is said to possess all the powers of an avatar, a man who many believe to actually be the reincarnation of Lord Krishna. His name is Satya Sai Baba. Most of the miracles attributed to Jesus Christ have reportedly been duplicated by Sai Baba. His followers believe him to be beyond time and space. Free from the laws of physics, Baba is said to be able to read minds, to see into the past and future, to transport himself anywhere in the world instantaneously, to be in more than one place at the same time. There is virtually no illness which he is not reputed to have cured, and there is even evidence that he has brought a devotee back from death. Sai Baba's fame has been growing throughout India. The English-language newspaper Blitz, published in Bombay, with a circulation in the millions, reported that Swamiji's ashram, Prashanti Nilayam, is fast assuming the status and symbol of a Hindu Vatican. The State London Times hails Sai Baba as, quote, the most impressive holy man in centuries. P.J. Karanjia of Blitz reported, as I watched him going around the devotees, materializing vibhuti, sacred ash, for the needful, he seemed to be there and not there at the same moment. Sometimes he would appear to be talking or singing to himself. At others, waving his hand, palm upward in the air, in rhythmic mudras, as it were.
Mysticism, man.
The impact between the devotees and their Bhagawan was immediate, electric, powerful. It was like the point-counterpoint between musical instruments or melodies whose vibrations inspire newer and ever newer notes till they merge in divinity. Being an avatar of Baba's magnitude, one who is able to transcend time, it is not unusual to hear him talk firsthand of Krishna, Rama, and other great saints, including Jesus. Dr. Jack Hislop, president of the Satya Sai Baba Society of America, translates what Sai Baba had to say on one occasion about Jesus Christ.
I was with Swami when a question was asked about the early life of Jesus, because there had been so many rumors that Jesus spent some time in India as a young man. And Swami replied, yes, that Jesus did spend time in India, that he arrived in India at about the age 16. He traveled through India and parts of Tibet and parts of what is now Persia, that sometimes he wore a sort of a dhoti garment, a wrap, that
That's me out.